Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday show. And I noticed right off the bat, OBS is broken.
Nice.
Yeah, isn't that great? Our avatars are not working. Let me see if I can do a quick cover. Maybe it's because this is wrong. No? What about this? Ah! I fixed it.
Okay.
I've gotten so used to fixing it, I know how to fix it better than I know how to run it. Anyway, hello everybody in chat land. With me, as always, are my two favorite co-hosts, Genty Maxi.
Hello.
And Terry Diamantis.
Hello.
How you doing, Terry?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay, Jen. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Okay. Well, we have no real news from the other continents, so today's news is going to be three things from the States. Ian is, of course, about the hurricane that is pounding Orlando, and not in a good way, and heading towards Tampa.
It's coming for you, Disney. I know that's not. But it's coming for you, Disney.
Yeah. There's already mass floodings, and it's a nightmare, but hopefully everybody who's in Florida is safe and sound. Also, Nordstream is in trouble because it looks like it's been attacked. Not really sure about who did it or why. Some people are blaming Putin. Some people are blaming the States because, you know, Biden's got a big mouth. He can't ever say anything properly, but he can incriminate himself pretty easily. And then,
I'm assuming that's a VPN that we're talking about.
Yeah. And then finally, free Otto, that's a play on words. AUTO is the word I was actually going to use. A couple found that they had ordered some storage cases online, and inside some of the storage cases were military M16s included in the price. Here you go. Have some M16s. They're a great weapon. Anyway,
and even if they don't want them, they still want out because you could just sell them.
Yeah. Well, they let the FBI know about it, and the FBI came out and
these are our guns.
Yeah, they came out with a 30-man SWAT team. So anyway, we should probably say hello to everybody in chat. Hello, chat. Hi, Keever Dam. First
Hi,
one.
Keever.
First today. OG Costin, Big Dro.
Hi, Costin. Hi, Cynic. Big Drew.
You're moving too fast for me. Hey, Cynic. JB. Scrolling, and the rest of people will show up probably halfway through the stream as normal. Ian's the big story, but if you guys want to talk about something else first.
I think just quickly I'll say Six did ask me to let people know that he's needing assistance. So if he didn't go into details, but if you know Six and you want to see if you can help him out, he did ask me to get the message out. So hopefully he'll get back to me with details as to what he needs help with. But for now, that's all I've been told.
He
I'm
mentioned to
keeping
me
my
that
toes crossed for him.
he mentioned to me that he needed something, and I told him to get on Discord on the Minions channel and say something. And the Minions regularly read Discord if they don't talk that much. So if you want to get a message out, that's a good way of getting a message out to a bunch of people. So, because he sent me a DM earlier today asking me a couple of questions. I was like, I'm not your guy, but you can always get on Discord and hit up a whole bunch of minions real quick. That's probably the best way to do it. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you think? Nordstream, automatic weapons, Ian?
I mean, let's start with Ian. Why not?
Might as well. Yeah. It is the most turbulent story.
Well played, sir.
Right off the bat, I have to bring up Don Lemon and CNN. They're doing they did an analysis. Did you see this?
No.
They did an analysis. They had a meteorologist on, and Don Lemon immediately got onto the climate change, and he's like talking to this guy. Yeah, of course he did. And he got on this guy's case right away. This is all because of climate change, blah, 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 blah. And the guy's like, nah, this ain't about climate change. he just said right up front, let's not blame a weather event on on climate change. Climate change is one thing, weather is another. And I did some research on this because if I can prove Don Lemon wrong, I'm going to do it.
Always a good day.
Today was a good day. In 2020, there were 31 hurricanes. In 2021, there were 21 hurricanes. In 2022, there have been 9 hurricanes. So climate change, I don't think so.
But I did learn from the DuckTales of all places that life is like a hurricane.
I thought life was like a highway.
Fact lives matter.
Not only that, but the most intense hurricanes, as opposed to the frequency of hurricanes, but the most intense hurricanes, on a scale of or out of a list of 30, the last intense hurricane was in 2005. And that was not Katrina. Actually, it was Hurricane Jean that hit Florida. While there was more damage done by Katrina, that was because of the area that Katrina hit, not by the intensity of the storm itself. So it was more costly, but it wasn't as violent. The one that hit Florida was much more violent, but didn't do as much damage because Florida gets hurricanes on a regular basis. They already kind of know how to handle this. So, and it looks like DeSantis has gone overboard in making sure people are protected. He was telling people a week ago, get out or you're going to get, slaughtered. So a lot of people left. Not everybody, but a lot of people left. So people who've been hit on a regular basis have already learned how to batten down the hatches and ride out a big storm like this. Now it's a category 4 with a possibility of a 5 as it moves inland. But apparently once it hits land, it hits its peak and then begins dissipating afterwards. So it'll slowly go from a 5 down to a 4, down to a 3, to a tropical storm, then a depression, and then it's just rain after a while as it moves up the coast. Supposedly this is going to run through Florida, then move off the coast, and then just kind of peel off into the ocean. At least that's what they're saying right now. We'll see what happens because hurricanes aren't always predictable. Weather really rarely is. So we'll see what happens. But some of the videos I've seen coming back from Florida look pretty wet. A lot of washed out roads and stuff like that. So they're getting pummeled pretty good. So I don't know where is Disney? Is Disney in the path of this?
Or Orlando.
Well, if that's true, Orlando's getting nailed right now.
Let me just.
I think I saw that on Pornhub.
Florida. I told you it was coming for Disney,
Her
but
name is
I need
Sweet
to look it
Orlando.
up. Just look you up. See if I can get a good shot. No.
Well, Orlando has seen this before. It's really Tampa and Tampa Bay, which doesn't get hit as often, and that's probably going to get nailed as well. So at least that's the way the storm looks right now. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania, which is hundreds of miles north, 1,000 miles north, I guess. I don't know how much exactly, but quite a distance. And we're seeing weather events here already because as it moves onshore, it's taking all the weather that was below it and pushing it up to us. Weather that would normally move off the coast or, horizontally across the country is now being pushed north to south. So we're getting stuff that's why it's a little warmer here than it normally is, because it's just pushing all the warm air up towards us.
Warm is good. I endorse warm.
Yeah, it's warm, but it's kind of wet. So
Yeah, that's fine. I'm used to that too.
Well, I wanted to do some work around the house today, and I was like, well, nope, I guess I'm just going to do laundry because I can't do anything outside.
Yeah, so Orlando faces the Atlantic Ocean. So, but it's kind of halfway. It kind of looks like it's almost halfway through.
East Coast?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it must be coming in from the east. Tampa must be more inland or more west.
It is. But it's honestly not that far off from... I could see it going that far.
Yeah. Well, it's not a small storm either. Like, it is a category 5 now. Or 4 or 5, something. I have to look at the latest projections. Last time I heard it was 4, but they said it was going to hit a 5 before it went back down again.
Looks like Big Dro is one of your neighbors. He also lives in Pennsylvania.
Ooh. Oh, whereabouts Pennsylvania? Northeast? Southwest? Whereabouts? Let me know, Big Joe. I'm in the Northeast. I'm out near Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area.
See, JB brings up a point that I brought up to you guys earlier, but yeah, I am kind of wondering where this thing goes, because if it is on that side of the coast, it might honestly be stopped by Florida, which, sorry, Florida. Thanks for taking one for the team. Because we got nailed really bad too. Like, we're going to be feeling a lot of sympathy with you guys for a while. Like, that camaraderie of like, ooh. Because I don't know why my brain goes to these places, but like, just, I wonder why people build with sheds down there. I really do. Why are you living in a shed? If you go across to Europe and you realize that they build their coastlines with like sandstone and cement, it's because the sandstone doesn't work. So they went up to cement.
Big Dro says he lives in Pittsburgh.
All right. Well,
maybe it's too cold. Maybe it's too cold. I don't know.
I'm a Steelers fan. My brother's an Eagles fan. Both Pennsylvania teams, but go Steelers. He is west. He's West Pennsylvania. I am Northeast, so we're on the opposite sides of the state. But
yeah, take care, guys.
Thanks for sharing this stream, Assassin. Scranton, your neighbors with child sniffer Joe. Yeah, Joe is from there, but Joe has not been there. He's a man of Delaware now, so I can push that south and say he has nothing to do with us anymore. Yeah, he grew up in Scranton, so we created him, but Delaware corrupted him. So that was pretty smooth how I did that. Took the blame off of Pennsylvania just like that.
The only thing I know about Pennsylvania is contained in the opening theme song to The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I've seen the show, but I don't know the opening theme or anything about it.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent most of my days.
Philly's about 4 or 5 hours southwest of here. Where my brother lives, he lives just outside of Philly. I grew up just outside of Philadelphia. I grew up on just off a street road in Philadelphia. So it's a bit of a trip from here to get to there, but
so no visiting Will Smith for you.
No, not that I would anyway. It's funny too because I used to have this argument with the Otter, and I used to say, I like Will Smith. He was in Independence Day and Ray and all these great movies and I, Robot, all movies that I liked. And the Otter never liked him. The Otter was like, he's a dick and blah 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 blah. And it turns out that he was right. He was a dick. So
I mean, both can be true. He can be a dick who was in good movies.
Yeah, I gotta wonder if he was in good movies or he made those movies good.
Probably a bit of both.
You think?
I mean, I think there's some movies that were saved by Will Smith, and other movies that were already good, and he just, was in them.
Yeah, I think they're like I, Robot. He did and what's the one where he's fighting zombies?
I couldn't tell you.
Chat will know. They're good with movies. Those I don't think anyone else could have played that part. He just was. I don't think the movie could have been any better with anybody else in that part. I think he played the part really well in both those movies.
I liked his role as a Chris Slapper at the Oscars.
and actually, I said Ray, but that's I got the wrong person. Ray was Jamie Foxx. But yeah, he did a good job in Independence Day. But he was just a wisecracking kind of guy. Yeah. Anybody could have played that part. I think that wasn't really particularly.
And Chad is saying, "I Am Legend" is the movie you're thinking of.
There it is. I Am Legend. I used to have such a vocabulary with movies. I still love movies every as much as I used to love them. but I used to be so much faster with people who were in movies and when the movies came out and, all that kind of stuff. But now I just can't remember that stuff anymore.
See, at first I thought Assassin was just bragging, but then Mash said the same thing. It's like, oh no, that must be the name of the movie.
No, Mash isn't bragging though. I'm subscribed to Mash. I get her videos on a regular basis. She is legend. So yeah, that's the story with Ian, is that it's on its way up the coast. It's never, from what I understand, it's not going to make it to Pennsylvania, so I am safe.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's one of those things where people will tell me where they're from, and I'll almost purposefully forget because I don't want to accidentally say it.
I mean,
and dox
revealing
somebody.
the state isn't revealing the state's not that significant.
Yeah, and even the city, I don't mind saying that I'm, just north of Scranton, no big deal because, well, you're only talking about 60, 70,000 people, you're not going to be able to find me. So
exactly.
So it's not a big deal, but still I'm careful about, saying some people don't want you to know even what coast they're on. Like Scribe.
Scribe is very secretive.
Very secretive, yeah. So there's plenty of people out there that don't want you to know anything. Then you have Monkey, he's from Michigan or Missouri or something. He gets with an M. So he's labeled his state and stuff like that. But people who are, I've certainly talked to people who say, well, don't tell anybody, but I'm from this place. So I immediately make it a point to forget, so that I can't possibly tell anybody where they're from.
If people reveal it on stream, I tend to think
it's okay.
It's fine if I repeat it. I don't think Jen would mind if I mention that she's from Alberta. I think everyone kind of just knows that.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, I have a tendency to forget those things anyway. I know Jen's from Canada. I know you're from Australia. You're on the coast.
Yeah.
That's about as much as I remember because I particularly intentionally forget. I don't want to accidentally dox anybody.
I'm on the opposite side to THUR.
Yeah, that's why I said you're on the East Coast, so you're all right. But Far as said generally where she's from, so I don't mind saying that she's near Perth because she's only near it. She's not even in it, so that's an awful big place. Try to track her down.
Western Australia is like half the country.
Yeah.
So that doesn't narrow it down much.
Eastern Australia is the other half of the country. I mean, there's nothing in between. But
Western Australia is like half the country, and then all the other states are kind of just comprised in the other half.
Yeah, you're from Melbourne, right?
Sydney.
Sydney, yeah. I had what, 3 or 4 options? I still got it wrong.
My family, like mum and stepdad and their kids, live in Melbourne, but they moved there. They we all grew up in Sydney, but then they moved.
Yeah, Barron just moved out of. He was in Sydney too, wasn't he? He moved.
I believe he was in
Queensland.
I think he moved to Queensland. Barron was in Melbourne and moved to Queensland, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy that
I know
he did.
I know he used to be in Melbourne.
Yeah. But I don't really know what's going on between the different states, but apparently some states are good and some states are bad, notably.
Melbourne is a shithole because of the premier, Daniel Andrews. He was like ridiculous when it came to the lockdowns and the COVID measures. He went way over the top, and I think that's why it was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, he's much happier now. Anyway, why don't we move on from Ian, Ray, Ian, and I guess
talk about a different Ian. I'm thinking Ian Gillan of Deep Purple.
Okay.
No, I'm just
the reason I mentioned Ian, Ray, Ian is there's a movie with John Cusack where he owns a small record shop. It's actually based on a British movie, American remake with John Cusack and of course his sister, Joanne Cusack.
I think it's Joan, isn't it? Joan?
Is it Joan?
Cusack?
Joanne?
I think so.
Begins with a J. I was close enough. It was Jack Black is in it, and he owns a small record shop, and him and his girlfriend are kind of having a little problem, and she moves out and ends up moving in with the guy upstairs. and it's played by oh great, I'm not gonna be able to remember his name. He's married to Susan Sarandon, or was married to Susan Sarandon. I can't remember. He was in the Hudsucker Proxy. It's funny how I can remember all the movies they're in, but I can't remember their names. Must be the stroke. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm kind of watching chat because I'm sure somebody in chat's going to come up with it.
Yeah. I just like JB because he mentioned my favorite song.
It was Joan Cusack. High Fidelity. That's the movie. Assassin, you're on the ball today. Damn. Yeah, High Fidelity.
Sitting here with IMDb open.
Probably. I could do it. Tim Robbins. He's got all the answers. You must be cheating.
Yeah,
Tell me you're cheating.
So does IMDb.
Anyway, so his girlfriend, what was the name of his girlfriend? If you can come up with that one off the top of your head, you're king, because she's some Swedish chick, absolutely stunningly gorgeous. But
no idea.
Anyway, she says that she moved in with this guy named Ray, but his name is actually Ian, and everybody calls him Ray. And the way way he finds out that it's the guy upstairs is he happens to be looking at the mail, because he lives in an apartment, and it says I. Raymond. Everyone calls him Ray, Ian, Ray. Yeah. Then he finds out who it is, kind of deal. But her name's like Ila Bishenke or something weird like that, some weird Swedish nationalist name. And that's where I got the Ian Ray thing from, stuck in my head. I even when I was typing the show notes, I was like, Ian Ray, Ian. Well, I'm typing in the notes, so it's been in my head since the beginning. I think I stumped Assassin. Anyway, but yeah, we probably want to get on to Nordstream then. If anybody doesn't know, pipeline running from Russia to Germany, there's two of them, Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. And Nord Stream, it's Nord Stream 1, right? I didn't write down in the show notes, but I think it's Nord Stream 1. Is leaking into the ocean. It's leaking gas. It looks like a huge area of water that's boiling, because it's basically just gas escaping the air, and it's methane gas, which is every bit as dangerous to the atmosphere as CO2 or water vapor.
I think there's a farting cow in the pipeline. That's what's causing all the methane.
What I don't understand is, why don't they just shut the gas off? If it's just going to go up into the air anyway, why not just shut it off? I guess maybe because the water will get into the pipeline.
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
so they have to have pressure to keep the water out of the pipeline. But I doubt there's so much pressure that water is still not getting into the pipeline. But yeah,
Assassin says both were shut down already.
What's that?
Assassin says both Nord Streams were shut down already.
Oh, so they've both been shut down. Why did they shut down Nord Stream 2 then?
I don't know.
Just in case that one gets attacked as well, but it doesn't stop it from still getting attacked. Apparently, it was damaged by what looks like a couple 100 pounds of TNT, which could be just like a torpedo, I guess, from a submarine or something like that, or a depth charge from a. But anyway, the last thing I heard was there was 4 separate leaks for Nord Stream 1. So it doesn't really sound so much like sabotage if there's 4. That sounds more like maybe some kind of underwater earthquake. Jostled it around and broke it open. That's my guess, but I don't really know for sure. But of course, Biden had to say a few weeks back that if we want to shut down Nord Stream, we can do it. And he was asked by a reporter, how would you go about doing that? And his reply was, don't worry, we can take care of it.
That is not what you want the president to be saying.
No, it was a mistake then, and now it's even more of a mistake because now we're going to get blamed. And some people are blaming Putin. Why would he destroy his own pipeline? He could just turn the valve off and be done with it. Why would he destroy it?
I mean, if he wants to frame the United States, given that your president has said we can shut this down at will. And maybe if he wants to make America look bad, he could do something like that.
Well, if both Nordstreams are shut down, then that gas should stop after a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So at least it won't be like an Exxon oil or BP oil spill that goes on for months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which climate change. Anyway, I wanted to say hi to Jack Slaw and Green Badger Outdoors who have just joined the chat. There are so many rusky Navy ships in the Baltic that odds are any vessel getting close enough to commit sabotage. Close to commit sabotage going undetected is very low. Why would a Russian ship sabotage the Russian pipeline that Russia needs
No.
to use the war?
I think what he's saying is there's so many Russian ships in the area that no one could sabotage it without getting spotted.
Oh, right. Unless it was a submarine, like an American submarine, stealth sub. It wasn't a huge.
I don't know.
It wasn't a huge explosion. It wasn't like, one of what I would expect to be one of our torpedoes, which would just, blow a couple 100,000 feet of water into the air. It was a smaller explosion, something like a tactical sub, like a 2-man kind of, personal sub. A lot of, I don't know if we have anything like that, but, I've seen The Hunt for Red October. They outline a sub there. It's a movie. It's a fiction, but it seems something that's, potentially doable if they wanted to create some kind of small problem, and it would be virtually undetectable because of its size.
I've been playing adventure games. I know how to fix this. You need to find a bunch of olives, dump them in the oil, and now you've got salad dressing. And
yeah. So, I mean, why would you sabotage it in 4 separate places? There's a lot of questions here, that don't make any sense to me. But
I don't know, but I feel like we're all starting to live in a yellow submarine. You're welcome.
You guys, I got the zingers going on tonight. Well, I don't think it was anybody from Canada. It could have been the Australians. They could have done it. I don't think it was anybody.
I reckon it was an emu. I reckon those bastards have moved on. They're coming after the Russians.
The emu submarine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens next. But apparently there's been reports of Russian ships a couple 100 miles off the coast of Alaska. I just saw a Twitter thing. I know, who knows if that's true, but I just saw it on Twitter that there's some movement in the Russian fleet. So I don't know what's going on there. We'll see what comes next, but I think it'll be
Assassin seems pretty sure that a torpedo would have been detected. So he's pretty sure it's not that.
Yeah, a torpedo will be detected and too imprecise targeting for a pipeline. The range is too far for a Navy SEAL diver delivery vehicle. So those things exist then. A Navy SEAL diver delivery vehicle that actually exists. Yeah, I don't know. How do you sabotage something like that and get away with it? I mean,
with the Beastie Boys.
put a bomb in the back of a porpoise and say attack. Somehow I don't think that's going to work. So I don't know.
You know what it could also be? And I don't mean to slander the Russians, but it wouldn't be the first time they've let something just kind of run down. And then it just failed because they haven't been checking on it. Because this is underwater pressure. It's by engineering. It probably does need more maintenance. And they do tend to skip corners. Not all the time. But like us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody in chat has any conspiracy theories on what they think this could be. I'd love to hear them.
I think Jen has it right in chat. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
I was wondering what those little icons meant. I was like, those look like saucers.
Yeah.
Okay.
I found that. I was like, that's convenient.
Well, I have heard there have been UFO things. You know, people talk about the Bermuda Triangle and how they see UFOs diving into water at full speed and stuff like that. You got to wonder if there's such a thing as UFOs. Yeah, maybe they're underwater. Somehow I don't think they're attacking the pipeline, but maybe.
Yeah, one of them hit it. They were like, oh shit, there's something in the way.
They beamed.
Technically, a UFO is just anything that's flying and you don't know what it is.
Technically, yeah.
Like it could be a balloon. If you don't know what it is, you look up and go, "What the fuck is that?" That's a UFO.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know who made the balloon, it's still
No,
unidentified.
But if you just say something, if you see a plane in the sky and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" That's a UFO. You weren't able to identify it.
True. Maybe they beamed a bomb onto the pipeline. I'm watching too much Star Trek. Hello, Lava Junkie. ATF is getting bent over by a judge every week, and I'm here for it. Not a fan of the ATF? I don't think anybody is.
Who's the ATF?
Tobacco and firearms.
Oh, okay.
What's the A? Alcohol.
It says the pipeline is an average of 300 feet below the surface.
Yeah. I don't know if you can.
It's got big feet.
I don't know if you can beam a bomb that far underwater. I don't know. I'd have to talk to the aliens to find out for sure. So yeah, looks like we're going to war any day now. Because we decided to take ownership, credit before it happened, and now we're going to get blamed for it because of Biden.
Yeah.
Another thing he shouldn't have said. Even if it was something that we did do, don't say it ahead of time.
No. But the fact that he said that means anybody could do it and America would get blamed.
There is that. You're talking fourth what am I thinking of? 4D chess with Biden? I don't know if he's capable of that.
What I mean is like now once Biden said that, literally anyone who wanted to destroy it could destroy it,
right,
knowing America would get the blame.
Right. Trump would have never said it.
No, because he's not an idiot.
Easily said. I can't go to war. I'm sick. Yeah, you and me both. Well, let's talk about. I actually have the story. Where's my Firefox? The story is a couple finds M16s in storage cases bought online. And the webpage says fully automatic M16s. As far as I know, M16s can only be fully automatic because when they're not fully automatic, they become AR-15s.
Maybe they're the fully semi-automatics that CNN was warning about.
Yeah. So this comes out of Houston, Texas. Federal authorities are trying to figure out how at least a dozen fully automatic M16s ended up among military surplus equipment sold to a Houston couple. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, executed a search warrant in a Richmond area storage facility on Monday afternoon. However, that only came after the couple voluntarily notified the authorities of their highly unusual find. Last week, the couple who run a side hustle of buying surplus lots, we talked about this last week, buying surplus lots, dividing up the products and reselling them on eBay, received delivery of 108 storage cases sold by a government surplus website. Over the weekend, a friend helped the couple stack and store the cases. As a thank you, they gave one of the cases to the friend. I wonder if it had M16s in it. When the friend opened the case, he realized it wasn't empty. Inside were 12 fully automatic M16s, all of them still with various tags designating the military branch and name of service members who handled the weapons.
That's in his disputing the facts. He says they were M16A2s, not M16s. They 3-round burst instead of fully automatic.
Why does this? Well, this article is not. It's up to date. There's no edits on it saying that the weapons were anything but M16s.
Maybe Assassin is saying in response to you saying all M16s are fully automatic. Maybe he's just clarifying that point.
Oh, okay.
Because he's mentioning this other type of M16 that.
Well, yeah. Well, you really use Otto for cover fire anyway. I mean, it's not particularly accurate, so I can't see how it would do. Burst mode's much more. Anyway, quote, "We just purchased these cases. We never expected anything in there," said the husband, who did not want to be identified, understandably. Quote, "Supposedly the sender should check every single box to make sure there's nothing dangerous or anything. It's just a case. Everybody can buy it online," the wife said. Unsure of what to do, the couple reported the M16s to authorities. Probably a smart thing. Within hours, ATF and FBI agents seized the one open box with the 12 weapons. Shortly thereafter, the ATF obtained a search warrant for the couple's storage unit. They spent most of Monday on location going through the boxes. ABC 13 was the only news outlet on scene. We observed agents opening, closing, and stacking multiple gun cases. It's incredible. It's surreal, said Greg Freeman. That's an interesting name. A one-time Houston police captain and Marine. ABC 13 reached out to Freeman, who is now a faculty member at Sam Houston State University, about how dangerous it is to have random military equipment floating around the internet. Yeah. It seemed to me like it would be probably not a great idea. It's unbelievable to think that military-grade weapons would be shipped in containers across state lines. So here we go, across state lines again. It's pretty shocking. One of the strictest things we have in the military is weapons accountability. So these weapons are missing somewhere from a U.S. armory, and somebody doesn't know it. That's the scary thing about that for the U.S. military right now. Continued for these boxes to have M16s in them and be shipped to a public destination not only is shocking, it's a federal crime. Exactly who's legally responsible for the gross mistake is uncertain. ABC 13 contacted the online website that sold the gun cases. The company has since pulled all the other cases that were on their website for sale offline as it conducts an internal investigation. A representative from the company told ABC 13 that it directly contracts with the Department of Defense to sell surplus equipment, which should not include any real weapons. So it has to be the military. The Department of Defense supplied them. You know, they made the request, we want boxes, and the DOD said, sure, here's some weapons for you as well. The ATF confirms it's investigating along with the FBI, but will not say how many weapons were recovered. ABC 13 confirmed the number of at least a dozen, but unknown how many other boxes also contained M16s. According to the federal firearm standards, the weapons are considered fully automatic, though the guns do have several iterations. "We are good citizens," the wife said, adding she's now reluctant to buy military surplus equipment and fearful to run afoul of the law. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, how did she know that they were going to be delivered with weapons inside? Nice-looking weapons, though. They have a picture of one of them on the website. That's a great-looking gun. It's the stock, the handle, the clip, and the barrel and the scope are all black, and the rest of it is like a military olive green. So it's a really, really sharp-looking weapon. They actually took a picture of one of the weapons that they had. So pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would be so quick to make the phone call.
Okay. You know my conspiracy theory?
What's that?
This is just a big ploy to sell more storage cabinets, because people are going to be like, I'll take 100.
Yeah. With the chances, roll the dice. Maybe I'll get a stack for myself. It's too bad these people were so
Honest?
Yeah, because I can imagine sending this to a couple of people that I see on Twitter on a regular basis, ghostguns.com and a bunch of other places. I think to myself, they wouldn't have called. They wouldn't have called
It's,
at all.
people's minds go to weird places when they find stuff that they consider weird. So
Hmm.
for all you know, they were like, "Shit, is this like mafia or what is this?"
But
You know?
no, Green Badger Outdoors said the same thing. He doesn't know if he would have said anything in that
Yeah,
situation.
Assassin said the
Yeah.
same thing.
I probably would have just sold them to my American friends, to be honest. And like, hey, I probably don't have the legal rights to have these, and I'm not a gun owner to begin with.
Well, you would probably be
But
able
if
to
you
get
wanna
away
give
with
me
it more than anybody else. Like it's illegal to do it in the States, but if they were shipped out of the country and you got them, well, what are they going to do now? Come at you from? You're going to get invaded? Is America going to invade Canada to get the weapons back? I mean,
I had a boating accident. I don't know what happened, man. Just, like I was out and about on the Elbow River and I was looking for fish in the last minute and I'm like, shit, there was a hole.
the legendary boating accident.
Yes.
Dropped the whole case. Have no idea where it went.
Hmm.
I mean, it could have been a mining accident. We have those too.
Hmm. I'd probably be too scared. I'd probably call them up, send them back. But I wouldn't even
Yeah,
have.
I would.
I don't have a storage unit, nor would I need one. I guess if I was doing the same business they were.
See, I'm gonna be fair with you. I wouldn't even know what kind of gun they are, so I'd probably take a
Nah.
picture and send it to my military friends. Yet again, the minions that we know that are military people, I'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, Assassin makes a good
No,
point.
I'd be calling whatever company delivered them, like the post office or whoever, and say, "I think I got the wrong package. Can you
Imagine
get rid of this?"
imagine taking them and putting a sticker on it to send back to the people that sent it to them. Return the sender.
Hmm. Yeah,
Sending it back through the mail again. Oh yeah, this is,
that'd be hilarious.
go up to the postmaster, carry the case upside down. I like to send these M16s back to where I got them from. Postmaster's jaw drops on the ground. Or what? What are they? I have a hard enough time
How did I get through?
Yeah, I have a hard enough time just mailing a laptop to somebody. What kind of battery is it? Is the battery in there?
Dude starts looking at his dog. Are you just seriously too high today? Have you not been doing your job properly?
Yeah, right. I have to admit that I've made it a point to take the battery out of the laptop and package it separately when I send it out. I am a good boy. I don't actually leave it in the laptop. Although just about every time I've bought a laptop over eBay, it comes with the battery in it. So I'm like the only person who follows the law, I guess. And that's fine, whatever. I can only imagine though opening up a package like that. And there's a whole bunch of M16 sitting there. I mean, the shock. First thing I would think of is, who can I sell these to?
Yeah.
But
I think I'd probably be in shock and then call either the police or the post office, or I'd like freak out and like make this not happen, make this go away.
well, Assassin said if they didn't call and the ATF caught wind, then the couple become, potential targets because it's military class weaponry, better than what the police have.
Which means if they try and confiscate it, you're better armed.
So if they come after you, you can hold them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they just have AR-15s, right?
Yeah.
AR-15s are just, single shot, single pull, semi-automatic. You got burst fire. And with M16 round, you put a hole in the front of their car. Yeah. Imagine even the small bullet that is the was it the 5.54, 223? I'm sure that's going to go through some sheet metal too. So, but the M16 round is what, 3 times as big? Literally.
I'll trust you.
Yeah,
I don't know guns.
It's a huge difference between the two. So I think the only thing people who are gun nuts would know these kind of things. I don't know all this because I'm not really a gun person, but I think the only thing bigger than the 223 would be a 30-aught. Was it 30-06? Is that what the bullet size is?
Let's say that it is.
Yeah, 30.5, 30.6 or something like that. That's the only thing that's bigger, and that's for like shooting bears and shit. So Assassin says police have been given surplus military arms. LAPD still have M16A1s, which is full automatic. 5.56 NATO, 223 Remington. Yeah. Well, that would make sense. In LA, you're not allowed to have a weapon or you're not really allowed to have a weapon as a citizen. So that would make sense that the police would have M16s. You know, the guys up here have, the guys up in Pennsylvania, they have pistols and shotguns. They don't even have ARs or nothing up here. But it's a sleepy town. Nothing ever happens up in Northeast Pennsylvania anyway. An M16 and AR-15 both fire 5.56 generally. Okay. I thought the M16 was a much bigger bullet for the M16. But my dad used to have a 22 and a 30-06 that he sold. And I remember looking at the bullet size. Now, a 22 bullet's like, what, 3/4 of an inch long? It's tiny. You know? But a 30-06 was like 4 inches. It was huge. Of course, I was a little kid, so just being bigger made it 4 inches. Our next size up in the U.S. military is 762 NATO. We were replaced 30-06 in 1947. So there you go. It's 308. Volrosk, you? Welcome to chat. 3003 and 36.
I think this is proof he's been faking being Canadian all this time.
In the U.S. military use nowadays, most people in the 30 caliber would at least, or American West calibers would go for a 30 NATO or a 308 Winnie. You guys are way over my head, man. I have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
The only reason I know any of this is because I played Fallout 3, and so like I can recognize these numbers as being bullet sizes. I don't know which ones are bigger than which. I don't know what they're used for, but I do recognize. Oh yeah, there was a gun that used 5.66 or whatever. 5.56. Yeah, there was a gun that sounds familiar. I've seen that number before.
Well, the biggest bullet I ever saw was my dad's 30-06. It's a pretty big bullet. So, but I mean, when he went hunting, he would have that weapon, and my brother would have the 22. I never went. I was too young. By the time I got old enough to go shooting, he was too old. So that never turned out. Anyway, we got 10 minutes. You guys have anything on the plate? We could always talk games and movies because you got a gamer and a movie person here. Jen, do you have anything that you want to bring up? Anything going on in Canada? Didn't Pierre just get elected? Something?
He did. He's actually had a little bit of grief.
How happy are you that he got elected?
So I am happy.
Okay.
He is going to have a bit of a hard time though, because he's absolutely taking all the attacks from the right, or not the right, the left.
Of course.
And then of course our guys don't know when to stop with the edge. So he's taking a little bit of grief because there's this guy in Halifax who it was an off-color joke about doing bad things to his wife. So taken out of context, like Pierre was kind of like, you know what? I get that you want to vote for me and shit, but like go fuck yourself. And I'm kind of like, fair enough, like not every edgy joke is for everybody. And if you're gonna make those jokes about like my family members, I might look into you first, and then be like, well, yeah, I'm just not into your jokes. That's not my thing.
Pierre seems to be like a really, really, really straight shooter guy.
He is. That's basically how he is. I think they're testing him to see how sensitive he is. And it's like, yeah, he reacted like a little bit angry because like some dude made a joke about, R-wording his wife. Yeah. So to be fair, I mean, Mackenzie's an edgy dude. And I'm like, but sometimes people are like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a line, and people who are edgy have a tendency to from time to time, to go over the line.
Mhm. I don't have a problem with his jokes. Like, I mean, I get that, but like at the same time though, like I'm not Pierre. Like it's not my wife. I'm not the one who's taking all this slander.
Hmm.
You know, and that is part of the job. So like he's going to be a little bit hyped up from that. So I'm not upset with him for being like, yeah, go fuck yourself to Mackenzie, because on a better day he would just been like, yeah, that's not my sense of humor, and walked away.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you have to sit down with your significant other and say, look, I'm running for a political office here, so you're going to be a target. So
Oh
don't let
yeah,
any of this stuff get to you. I'm going to defend your honor as a man, like I should, but there are some things I'm going to have to let go, and you're just going to have to let it bounce off you and not worry about it.
mm-hmm.
Did she react at all? Did she have any Twitter say anything or anything?
I don't think she necessarily said anything, but I can imagine that she was probably a little bit shocked, because I would be too. At best she might have been like, well, that's gross, and because she is taking a little bit of heat for her connection to him as well. A lot of that comes from the left. It also, I don't know what nationality she is, but like everything to do with people of color, that's all that the left cares about. So I'm not sure if she's Malaysian or from the Philippines, but I just know that that's all they give a shit about. She's a pretty girl.
Is Pierre white?
Mm-hmm.
He is? Because I saw him talking, and he seemed he doesn't seem like the typical Irishman, if you know what I mean.
I would say he's like a lot of us up here. We're a lot of mixed.
Yeah.
So when I say that he could be a bit French, which he is from his mom's side,
Obviously from the surname.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if he doesn't have at least some ties to the Native community. I'm not saying lots, because ties could be like 5%, 10%, but it does show up a lot. It does, like especially Quebec. You find a lot of people have a lot more blood ties than they say. It's just a lot of us up here don't necessarily claim shit that we're not owed. It's kind of like, yeah, I might share some percentage. I don't. Like, I'm adopted, right? But my dad and my aunt might share some DNA with the Native community.
Yeah, you'd have to
Are they ashamed of that?
You'd have to do a 23andMe to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have.
Well, I mean, you would have to find out about yourself because you're adopted, but
yeah, I'm in that weird stage of not really giving a shit. Like I someday I will, but right now I'm like, that's not really the most important thing.
Yeah.
And even with my parent, like even with my dad, like he was just interested in it. Like he doesn't want to claim stuff that he's not owed, but for like physical health, it's actually really important for people to check, because the Native community actually does suffer from a lot of different things, and they are things that we have in common. Like diabetes. They have a lot of diabetes. Kind of like the Black community has a lot of problems with heart problems. They have a lot of that too.
Yeah.
So finding out that kind of stuff. I was
still hoping you were going to say crime.
No.
Is she's? Like, do you say she's Polynesian or Asian of some sort?
Malaysian.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying like maybe the Philippines, because I'm just not sure. I could be completely wrong. I don't look into that kind of stuff, because it should only really be important if that's the topic of conversation. She's talking about her family or her home life, then it comes up. But up here, I won't necessarily start the conversation, because they've kind of. It's like when you take you're taking all you're starting a new job, and you got to start all that like learning stuff, how to interact with your coworkers. Yeah, it's kind of like that on the street too. You don't just go and talk to people about where they're from, and it's actually very stifling.
But I've actually heard, I don't know if it was 23andMe, but one of those companies was like deliberately falsifying results because they thought they were getting back at racists. So like they would put that every single person had less than 1% African American. Like because 0 is less than 1%. So they're like technically not lying, but they just were hoping that if a racist saw it, they'd get upset.
Wow, his wife is very attractive.
I'm completely wrong. She's from Venezuela. That's what I mean. Like, I don't want to base people based off of their skin tone because, like, I could be completely wrong.
Interesting name.
You know?
Anaida. Anaida Poliver?
Yeah. She seems sweet.
She's very pretty. I was just trying to look her up to find out more about her. Maybe she was married in 2018, but that's all they have is spouse. That's all the information they have. They have nothing else about her. I'm looking up. I can't find anything. No profiles, nothing. Everything points to him. Even the Wikipedia that I looked up points to him, not her.
I think he did that on purpose, and I'm glad that he did. You know, like, I think Trump, well, I don't know that Trump necessarily did that, but I think he tried to help keep Melania out of the spotlight. You know, because she took heat too.
Well, yeah, but she decided that she was going to make literacy, or what was it? Was it literacy her big stomping thing or something? So it's typical for American vice presidents' wives, first ladies, to pick up something that they want to champion. So, but he has two children, Valentina Alejandra Poliver Galadino, and then Cruz Alejandro Poliver. Why would one child have a different last name? Or the last name is... That's weird.
I think it might have to do with I think it might have to do with his family life. Like he's got an interesting story. Because both of his I wouldn't be really good for rehashing that because it's kind of a lot. Like it's one of those things where like he didn't grow up with a lot of money. He grew up with two teachers supporting their family, and you know that it's not a sob story. It's just like I said. I think I'm not even sure.
These are just babies. His children. They're recently born because they got married in 2018, and they already have two children. So they're tiny little kids.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. Congrats, sir.
You're happy for Canada too, I take it, because
there's some hope.
There's like kind of a good guy here, isn't he? Kind of like a good guy.
Well, he is better than what we've got, and
that's a pretty low bar.
No, it really isn't, because at this point, I think he at the very least will be able to help us balance our own budget, because economically speaking, they want to raise our taxes again, like as if we're not suffering enough from inflation and people not wanting to work and all that other shit. So, more taxes is a good thing for people who are working.
I think the general point is that this guy is better than Trudeau, but so is syphilis. So it's really not saying much.
It all has to do with how much he's willing to do to fight with WEF. And I'm not saying physical fight. I mean, like, really going through our system to find out how many of our politicians have those ties. Because he has kind of hinted that that's what he's going to do. But a lot of the times we elect people and they hint that they're going to do stuff. I'm going to hold him accountable. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, I am hopeful that he's going to be a good guy. But if he ain't, I'm going to vote him out too.
Yeah. I mean, I think expecting any politician to be good is like naively optimistic. Just less shit than Trudeau. Steps in the right direction.
It's also, we're kind of nervous with Freeland. So Freeland honestly is vile. She is. I keep making the joke about her being a sack of potatoes because she's part of the potato club. So to become the part of the potato club, you start off with the big potato and you end up with the little potato. But she's a sack of potatoes.
Okay.
Because her connections are terrifying. She herself is not, but the person who's writing her script or helping her to write her script is terrifying. And the decisions that she's making through these people, she's doing it from a level of snide, I know what I'm doing. And here's the thing, like, they want to ignore what's going on in Nova Scotia. Like, I'm not bringing it back to Ian, but it took them 3 days to really even send a response to these places that have been completely demolished by this storm. And we had people in the US who were coming up here to help us out. Well, they get stopped at the border because of their stupid arrive can. And they're like, well, that's not a problem. And now they want to raise our taxes. And we're like maybe 2 to 3 weeks away from like real winter, which for them is more serious. Like for us, it gets seriously cold. We drop to minus 34, but that maybe lasts for like a week or two. And then we have a Chinook, because that's why a lot of places in Canada hates my province, because we have a little fall break every once in a while. They don't have that, you know, and it's cold, wet, and their snow can go up to 2 floors. I've heard horror stories of shit that goes on out there. You know, so to have people with open barn houses next to the coast, I don't like that they're doing that. There are times where, like, as somebody who's kind of broke, I don't mind that they set aside even more money for that kind of thing, because we all live in countries where shit happens. But no, we're going to send billions of dollars to people that I don't even think are ever going to see that money, because I don't have proof of my theories in life. A lot of them are like Alex Jones levels of theory. But whenever our prime minister, donates billions of dollars for aid and relief to countries that like he's never given a shit about, I kind of wonder if it isn't like liberal money laundering. Because I don't see them actually getting aid. It's like the Red Cross. Oh yeah, we give aid, but then they take a bunch of it. You know, some not Red Cross. I can't remember which one it is. There's so many of them that do that. Do you
think there was somebody who would have been a better choice than Pierre?
No. I think right now we're kind of at a loss for people that we trust. I know a lot of people like Bernie, but Maxime has he's a little bit pig-headed. Like, he really doesn't take to criticism very well. And part of the problem is a lot of people do kind of struggle to understand him. Like, there is a little tiny bit of a language barrier. And then he doesn't really want to admit when he makes his own mistakes. Or he wants to deny other people credit for shit that they did. Like, well, I did it first, so therefore I should get credit for everything. And it's like, yeah, but no, you were a part of it. But you were just one part of it. That doesn't give you the right to take credit for everything. And he's also not quite as charismatic as Pierre is. And that's unfortunate for him, because in politics, that's kind of what matters. You know, Pierre does kind of have a mix of like a Ben Shapiro plus a little bit of the smarts of a Jordan Peterson. Plus he has the experience of working with Stephen Harper. And Stephen Harper was our previous prime minister. For all his faults, he was very good at fixing the books. Like, we were ahead with him. You know, I'm not saying he didn't have his faults, because he did. Like, there's a reason he lost. But we were at least stable and ahead. And we had businesses growing and people wanted to move here. And now people move here and there's not enough to keep them here.
Yeah.
The weather mows most people out. But if we had more things to keep them here, they'd be willing to face that winter. They don't have that. So they move. They go down to you guys, or they go back home.
So he becomes the leader of the conservative movement there. But Trudeau's still in power, right?
Yes.
And
because
then-
he's still the liberal leader. So liberals are still in charge.
Right.
But they're in charge of federal.
When does that change?
That always is.
Change?
So far as I'm aware, they are not making any hints that they're going to change anything. But here's the thing. They will wait until something is going on to pull something. So I wouldn't put it past them to try something. But at the same time, they could also be watching to see what's going on with Biden, because you guys are going to start your shit too. And anything that they can sneak by while you guys are doing that, they will try to do, because like a lot of people aren't paying attention to any of this stuff. You know, I would say we're more awake because everywhere that they've targeted has caused us grief. You know, like they keep talking about our farmers, but we don't live in a country where I don't know. Like, the only other way that we could just feed ourselves if we suddenly ran out of food is to go out and just start targeting wildlife. So
Well, at least you have that.
I say eat the politicians. That's a good place to start before you start.
Right? Right, they're fridges.
No,
They have like 25 grand fridges. So let's raid their house and then eat them too. But you're right.
Costin says part of how we got Trudeau is an anyone but Harper attitude. It sounds like us Americans. That's how we got Biden, anybody but Trump. That never ends well. For at least for those two examples, it certainly didn't end well.
How you got Biden was a completely safe and fair and secure election.
81 million votes, folks. 81 million votes.
Yeah.
See, one of the things that
no shenanigans at all.
Well, the thing I'm hopeful for with Pierre is while they might try to pull he's like Harper, he's not. Like, while he does have the experience of working with Harper, in terms of personality, yeah, I'd say he has the quick wit of Ben Shapiro, but he also has the grasp of Jordan Peterson. And yet again, he's I think he's looking at his family, and he's looking at his community, and he's looking at the community that he's left behind, and he's looking at what's happening. And like everybody else, he's like, this is really, really shit. So yeah, I have hope that he does have us in mind. But like I said, I am a little bit worried about the WF because they've infiltrated everything up here. They've infiltrated a lot of your stuff.
Yep.
They're still infiltrating a lot of your stuff because most Americans don't pay attention to anything either. And fair enough, you guys have your own lives, but you're gonna feel it next year, and next year, and the next year, and the next year. That's kind of the problem with policies. You don't really feel them as the year they happen. It's usually the 10 years later.
I think November is going to be a turning point for the United States when we do our primaries in November. I think I wouldn't say it's going to be a wake-up call to the Democrats because I think they already know it's coming. But I think that they're going to realize that they're in trouble when November hits, and because I think it's going to be, as long as nothing spectacularly terrible happens to the GOP, I think it's going to be amazing turnaround. I think a lot. I think that Congress is going to become very red very quick. Both the House and the Senate. So we'll see if that really happens. But I'm predicting. I'm putting it out there now. Hammer says November is going to be a very red month. So we'll see if my predictions come true. Anyway, Terry, you got anything? It's 10 after, and I know you have to get going.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I think Six solved his problem. He was saying in chat that he was fine. No, I got nothing. I'm good.
Okay. What do you say we get out of here then? Where is the music at? Damn, I can't do anything right. Thanks as always to everybody in chat for helping me out tonight, especially my problem with remembering movies. I don't know what the hell's going on there. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember the Minions are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. Hosts and smart start times are listed in the description down below. Good thing I'm getting out of here, man, because I'm hanging on by my fingernails. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope you guys enjoy the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.